Hello everyone, it's Mrs Hill here with your Year 2 Literacy. So we've had 3 very exciting weeks where we've been writing stories based upon our core text of the Storm Whale and then innovating that story to make our own story called The Storm Mermaid. And now this week we're going to be looking at poetry, and it's the first time that we've come across poetry this year. So here is the top sheet. So the purpose: we are going to be writing a poem about a storm, and we're going to obviously be sharing that with all the children in Key Stage 1. So here are the features that we're expecting to find within our poem, or some of the features that you will find inside poetry in general. So obviously punctuation is very important: capital letters, finger spaces, full stops. You might find a question mark or an exclamation mark. Now, these are some features that some poems will sometimes have. Not all poems have them all the time. It's really important to remember that. So we might have rhyme. So we've got net and jet. We might have onomatopoeia, which is when a word makes a noise like it is. So you might have bang, crash. That's why it's kind of got that big spark in the middle that goes poof, so that you know it's an interesting and exciting word. And we might have alliteration, which is when you have a sequence of words starting with the same letter. So for example, we have got here, the snake slithered slowly. And we've got 3 words which all begin with the letter S. Okay, let's move on to our next slide. I need to move myself around. So I thought it was good for us to have a little time when we were practicing our spellings at home. So I've got the pyramid way of writing because that's my favourite one, like I keep talking about. But I also thought you might want a different one to do now. And this is one called silly sentences, where you write a silly sentence using one of the spellings. We could even try to make a silly sentence using as many of the spelling words you're practicing as possible. So here are the words that we're going to practice this week. So we've got find. Here it is as a pyramid. Kind. Again, there it is. Mind. Move it over. Child down here. And then the last one, behind. So I'm going to put it there. So I'm going to cover them back over again and hide the pyramids. And then this is a really good place to pause the video and have a go at practicing your pyramid writing in order to learn to practice to spell these words. And once you've practiced your pyramid writing, you might then want to have a go at building some silly sentences and have a little bit of fun with those words. So pause here whilst you practice your spellings. Okay, so how did you all get on with your spellings? Now, I have got some poems for us to share. And the poems I've got to start with are all poems to do with the sea. Now, this is one written by Michael Rosen, and I've actually got a clip of him saying the poem for you. So listen really carefully and follow the words along as you're listening.
Over my toes. Over my toes goes the soft sea wash. See the sea wash, the soft sand slip. See the sea slip, the soft sand slide. See the sea slide, the soft sand slap. See the sea slap, the soft sand wash over my toes.
I hope you enjoyed that. It's really lovely to hear the poem read by the author who wrote it. And I wondered if you noticed anything as he was reading it. Are there any phrases that you particularly liked the sound of as he was reading? It did make me smile, the way he really pronounces some of the words when he's saying them, like see the soft sea wash. He was really stressing the sounds as he was speaking. And I wondered if you noticed any of those key features, which I said some of the poems could include on our top sheet, on our boxing up sheet. So I'm going to go over some of those key features with you now. Okay, so we have got quite a bit of alliteration in this poem. And if I take my highlighter and make it green, I should be able to hopefully have a go at showing you the alliteration in green. So we're going to go, we've got soft and we've got C, and then C, the C, and then we've got that wash sound again coming at the end, haven't we? Soft, sand, slip. See the sea, slip again. Soft, sand, slide. I think most of the words in this poem start with a sound. See the sea, slide. Soft, sand, slap. See the sea, slap. Soft, sand, wash. Oh, wash doesn't start with a sound. I got a bit carried away. There we go. Right, it's disappeared. Okay, now onomatopoeia. And actually, we have got a little bit of that in this poem. I think some of the words he's chosen because he really liked the sound of them, like the wash when he was reading it. He was kind of stressing that sound in there. Okay, I can't really think of any more where you've got, and then the soft, he kind of said that a bit more quietly from the rest of the poem. So he has chosen his words really carefully. Then we've got another word here, which is a homophone. Now that is really quite a tricky concept to understand. So I've got a different colour highlighter. And that means when you have two words which you say the same way, but they are actually spelt differently. So here we've got see, which is the verb to see. So if I maybe try and type here, I can do that for you, to see, which is the verb. And then we've also got, let me go back to my highlighter, we've also got the word see there, which is spelt S-E-A, which is a noun, which is the see, obviously, where you can, what the poem's all about. I also like the way in this poem that he starts with one line, which is then repeated at the end. Over my toes goes, and then over my toes is the end here. And we've also got two words which rhyme in there. So if I take a blue pen and highlight, make it blue. So we've got toes and we've got goes, and that shows as some rhyme. Okay, so let's move on to the next poem to share. Now, this one's quite small. I can see it, so you're going to have to listen really carefully as I read it to you. So it's called Leave the Whales Alone, Please. Leave the whales alone, please. They don't do any wrong. They swim in every ocean and fill them with their song. Leave the whales alone, please. Like us, they've got a brain. But if we don't start using ours, we won't see them again. Leave the whales alone, please. We need them in our seas. We need their life and beauty, and all they need is peace. Leave the whales alone, please. Let them live their lives. Let them leap and swim and sing. Let the whales survive. And that's by a poet called Tony Bradman. You can see his name right down at the bottom. It's quite small. So let's have a go at seeing what we can notice in that poem. So we've got some repetition again. So the title, let me find my highlighters. The title is Leave the Whales Alone, Please. And we've got it here at the first line, Leave the Whales Alone, Please. And then the second verse begins in exactly the same way, Leave the whales alone, please. Third verse starts the same, and the fourth verse. I should also have said that this poem has got 4 verses. So if I type, so we've got verse 1, we've got verse 2, we've got verse 3, and we've got verse 4. There we are. 4 little bit sections of writing. They're called verses when they're organised in poems. Okay, let me try and find a different coloured highlighter and have a go at doing this for you. So you might have noticed as I was reading that we can also find some rhyming in there. So let me read you this next bit. They don't do any wrong. At the end, I would like a different colour. Let me just go back a second. I thought I'd chosen a different colour. Let's test. There we go. They don't do any wrong. They swim in every ocean and fill them with their song. That's the word that rhymes, wrong and song. So the second and fourth lines. Let's see if we've got the same in the next verse. Like as they've got a brain, there's the word we're hoping we're going to find a rhyme for. If we don't start to use ours, we won't see them again. There's the rhyme. We need them in the seas. We need their life and beauty, and all they need is peace. Let them live their lives, and then we're going to find the rhyme with survive. Okay. Now, what message do you think this poem is giving the reader? I think it's quite clear from the title that actually this poem is to try to help people to think about the environment and think about the impact which we are having on wildlife, and particularly thinking of ways in which we can help whales and help to conserve them in nature. Okay, let me move on to the next poem. I need to move myself. Okay, I think I've also got a clip here of this poem being read aloud, so I'm going to play that for you. And it's called The Great Blue Whale by Kerry Hardy. So that is the name of the poet. As you listen, see if you can find the rhyme. See if there's any words that you don't understand or you'd like to explore their meaning. And this is a reason that I chose this poem, is that I actually really like it because it's also including quite a lot of scientific facts all about whales. Okay, so let me get the audio clip ready for you to listen to. And then you can hopefully listen to it, although I don't know if it's going to work. I'll read it to you. Okay, so let me read it. It says, nobody knows where he goes, nor what he does in the deep, nor why he sings like a bird without wings, nor where he eats and sleeps. The blue whale roves through watery groves. His heart is the size of a car. His tongue on the scale makes zoologists pale. It's as heavy as elephants are. A blue whale's vein, without stress or strain, could be swum down by you or me. He's the biggest feature that's ever did creature the sky, the land, or the sea. Now, when I read this, I thought, oh, maybe they've made a mistake here. And then maybe they meant to put these words the other way around. Maybe they meant to say he's the biggest creature that ever did feature in the sea, the land and the sky. But I looked and looked and found lots of versions of the poem written the same way. So I think actually that's a really deliberate mistake by the poet to play with words a little bit more. And that's what's really good fun about poetry, is that you can have a go at playing around with words a great deal. So let's have a go at seeing if we can spot the rhyming words. So nobody knows where he goes. Knows and goes are words which rhyme. Nor why he sings without wings. Oh, and then look, we've also got deep and sleep. So that bit of a rhyme carries on between two verses. Oh, I should have started by saying that to you. So let's count the verses. We've got verse 1, then we've got verse 2, then we've got verse 3, 4, 5, and verse 6. Okay, let's go back to our highlighting. The blue whale roves through watery groves. And then I'm wondering, we've got car, so I'm hoping that the rhyme for that will be down in the next verse. And it is car and are. His tongue on the scale makes zoologists pale. It's as heavy as elephants are. Scale and pale also rhyme. A blue whale's vein, without stress or strain, could we swum down by you or me? Me, we're going to try and find that rhyme in the next verse. There it is, see, and feature and creature rhyme there. Okay, I wondered if there were any words that you didn't understand. Let's just have a little look back through and see if I can find any that you might find a bit tricky. A zoologist is somebody who looks after animals or who's studied animals and understands about them. A vein is inside your body. Your veins and arteries carry the blood around your body. I think those are probably the only ones that you might not understand. But it has one of those facts that we talked about when we were doing one of our Zooms, when I said that a whale's heart was as large as a small card in some things. And so this one is talking about its tongue is as big as an elephant as well, which is quite interesting to know. Okay, right, let's move on to the next one. This poem I'm going to find really tricky to read aloud, okay? So I hope I do it right. You have to follow along as I'm reading. And I put this one in because actually, my first question is, how does this poem make you feel? Well, see if you can tell me when this is all finished. Okay, let me read it for you then. If you ever meet a whale, you must never touch its tail. For if you ever touch its tail, for if you ever touch its tail, you will never meet another whale. I hope you enjoyed that one. It made me laugh a little bit and made me smile because they've got the same words repeating over and over again in the poem. And it's a bit hard when you're reading it, unless you do put your finger on, to know where you are in the poem as you're reading. It made me smile and feel a bit happy, so I thought that was quite a fun poem to include. I also liked the way that it was presented with the whale picture and the way that the words were kind of curling up here to be this big wave, and then that they were bumpy to be the other bits of the waves down below. My next question was, why are some words written in bold? And I just think that that's kind of just to make some of them stand out a little bit more, so that when you're reading the poem, you have a go at stressing it just a little bit more. And then my next question was, can you find the two rhyming words? So let me go and find my highlighter. It's on green and I'll help you to find them. So we've got the word whale and we've also got the word tail. There they are. And I'm going to write them and see if you can notice anything about them. So let me maybe make my font size just slightly bigger. So it's here. So I've got tail and then I've got the word whale. And the really fun thing with rhyme, when you're making rhyming words, is that you can then use your phonics and find different ways to make the same sound. So here we have got we need the A sound, don't we? So we've got ale there, and then we've got whale, but they're spelt differently. We've got the special friends AI, and then the split digraph here, A with another letter in the middle, and then an E. Okay, let's move on to our jobs for today. So here is your task. So the first thing I'd like you to think about, the silver activity, is to complete the sentence stem. So going back over those poems that I've shared with you, I'd like you to tell me which your favourite poem is and why. So I've got the sentence stem which says my favourite poem is, and I'm going to ask you to put the conjunction because in. So I've modelled a sentence here for you. So it says my favourite poem is Leave the Whales Alone, Please, because it has a strong environmental message about protecting whales. Okay, your gold task is to see if you can explain some of the features that you can find in your poem. So I've continued with Leave the Whales Alone, Please, and I've said that there are rhyming strings in there. For example, wrong and song. Okay, and then your platinum task, and I'm hoping that quite a lot of you want to have a go at doing this, is to film yourselves recording that very first poem, Over My Toes. If we were in school and this was all normal, we would definitely be encouraging a lot of performance poetry. And it's just a really lovely way of expressing your ideas and helping you to become more confident at talking. And we'd probably have a go at doing it in groups and putting actions with it. So I'm hoping that at home you'll have a go at reading that poem and seeing if you can put some actions to go with it, and asking a grown-up to record it for you at home, and then posting that for us all to see on Dojo. I absolutely loved some of the work when the Year 1 children were retelling our Storm a Mermaid story using story maps. So I'm hoping for some amazing poetry videos as well. All right, everybody, take care and happy first day of poetry. Do enjoy it. Bye.